Right, this is page 24. You can pause and read the question, or read it in front of you. What is the absolute risk of a person in the study having diabetes? So that's the same as probability. 1,000 people, probably they have diabetes would be 360.36. Right, we want a relative risk. So relative risk is where we compare two probabilities of an obese person having diabetes. So 430 obese people, 300 of them have diabetes, and we're comparing that with the non-obese people, the probability of one of them having diabetes. So working that out, we get 6.6. So 6.6 times more likely of having diabetes if you're obese compared to not obese. And same thing, once again, we see relative risk. This time it's a non-obese person having diabetes. So it's just the one above, but turned around. And this time we get 0.151. So 0.151 times less likely of having diabetes if you're not obese compared to being obese. Right, once again, relative risk of a person with diabetes being obese. So someone with diabetes being obese, comparing that to people without diabetes being obese, and you can just check those numbers above or on your book. And we get 4.1. So 4.1 times more likely of being obese if you have diabetes than if you don't. Relative risk, same thing as above, but this time someone without diabetes being obese. So it's just the same problem, round the other way. And this time we get 0.24. From above, form a conclusion and comment. So you can comment on any of them. We might comment on the one above that. We might show we can comment on B. You are 6.6 times more likely to have diabetes if obese than not obese. And of course you can comment on the other ones as well if you like. Okay, question 43. This time we've got the probabilities already worked out for us in the table. And if you check, they should add to 1 each row and column because it's already got the probabilities there. What is the relative risk of having liver disease when drinking alcoholic beverages? So the risk of having liver disease when drinking alcohol would be 0.18, and we want to compare it with the non-alcoholic drinkers. And working that out we get 9. So you would be 9 times more likely of having liver disease if you drink alcoholic beverages than if you don't drink alcohol. That's what that says. Right, question 44, there's a bit of a table, and this has relative risks in it. The important thing to look for is this one down here that's 1, because that becomes your baseline, and that means everything else has a risk compared with the baseline one of cycling. And this is the risk of a fatality per participant in a sport. It says what is the base sport activity from which all the others are compared with. Clearly the answer is cycling. So for example, tennis would be 4.2 times more likely of a fatality with tennis compared with cycling. Golf, 0.83 times less likely of having a fatality compared with cycling. So we've just explained this, less than cycling, so you are less likely of a fatality, which means a death if you don't know, fatality if golfing and walking compared with cycling. In part C, how much more dangerous is climbing compared to fishing? So if we have a look up here, climbing and fishing. 137 divided by 41 is 3.34. So to get from here to here, we're timesing by 3.34. So you are 3.34 times more likely to have a fatality, a death, climbing than fishing. And that would be the answer to part C.